Experiential learning is absolutely the perfect model for approaching diabetes, managing diabetes, because there are 26 million people in the United States with diabetes, but really there are 26 million types of diabetes in the United States. Everybody has their own disease state because they all have their own circumstances, they all have their own environmental factors, they all have their own physiology. The learning by doing is something that deserves a lot more attention, and that's really what our organization Insulindependence is trying to do. When I was diagnosed, the first thing that my father told me is that I couldn't run marathons, couldn't hike by myself because it wasn't safe, and the main message I got was that diabetes was now going to control the tempo of my life.
All the emotional parts of being diagnosed with a chronic disease was hard for me to kind of accept.
I have done a lot of triathlons, and it wasn't until recently that I felt that I was struggling to be a better athlete with my diabetes.
It was really hard to find anybody that had done triathlons and find that kind of information and show that it could be done.
There's just no better environment than the outdoors and through exercise and teamwork to facilitate the type of dialogue that needs to be taking place in diabetes. Life is not static. Life is very dynamic, and there are curveballs, and unless you have experience confronting challenges you hadn't seen coming, you're not equipped to manage your diabetes. I didn't yet know that there were some limitations in terms of what an individual can accomplish with diabetes. And that limitation only exists if you haven't yet surrounded yourself with other people who are living with the disease, and other people who have either experienced challenges that you're up against or are willing to join you in uncharted waters.
Last year I decided I was going to do my first half Ironman, and that's when I said, all right, I got to figure out how to eat and what I'm supposed to do.
Thought I'd search the internet and see what I can find with triathlons and people with diabetes.
And when you do that, Triabetes comes up, which is one of the clubs of Insulindependence. And I always thought that I could never do a triathlon, that's beyond my scope. I'm just not athletic at all, and I think I just set out to set a goal and see if I could reach it and see if it was something that was even possible for me.
Ordinary people doing extraordinary things, those are empowering stories to people who will never play in the NFL or be a professional cyclist or climb Mount Everest or whatever it is. For a lot of people, running their first half marathon it's the grand prize, and those are some of the most treasured stories within the organization.
Using exercise and increased physical activity, you can improve your numbers and you can improve your life.
The most important arrow in your quiver when you're fighting this battle day in and day out is that emotional support and that self-confidence and self-awareness and you can do it attitude.
Found myself in Arizona with 12 strangers in a van for 24 hours, and it was the best. I mean, it was so much fun. It was the best time, and for me it was just great because there's all these people with diabetes and that exercise, just to get information and what they do, and all of a sudden it was I wasn't so isolated.
And having other diabetics around and the people that do the same types of activities is an excellent learning environment. You can learn different nutrition, insulin strategies.
Just being around all these people who do these amazing things, it really kind of inspires you to kind of want to do a little bit more.
Insulindependence never wanted to be an organization that simply inspired people. There's a responsibility that comes after that inspiration. What happens to your audience that's been inspired? Do they have the tools that they need to follow in your footsteps? If you're going to grow an organization and continue to get people involved and grow a movement and hopefully a revolution, are those people who've been empowered and educated, are they going to stay involved and do the same for the next group of people who come through? Our mission is to inspire people with diabetes to set personal fitness goals, to educate them on adaptive diabetes management strategies through hands-on experience, and equip them to explore their individual capacities.
I think it's so important to know other people with diabetes who are out there being active. You know, just the camaraderie you get from being around other people with a similar condition as you. You know, at home I don't know a lot of diabetics who are active, and so to be able to take that home and maybe create a community within my hometown.
I think the hardest part maybe for a diabetic is being active, because, you know, as a father of two, I have to figure out how to fit in my exercise between kids and work and things like that. Because if I don't exercise, you know, I just don't feel as good. And by exercising, I feel much better. I'm a better father, I'm a better husband, I'm a better, you know, employee. So I just hope to bring that message back that you can do whatever you want and forget about your diabetes, because you're active and you're educated and you have a community that supports you too.